Ladies and gents, welcome to the Ultimate Showdown. We've got some low elo legends here. They are very low on the elo scale compared to most of the players that I cast. We have 225 elo for Yaterzagi over here, playing as the Byzantines. Still hasn't created a villager yet, but is going to make some houses and is going to go collect some goats. And then in the red, we've got Yuma. Yuma's 220 elo. Now, both of these players have over 50 wins. I think it's like 50 wins for one of them and then 150 losses. And then one of the other players has like 80 wins, but 200 losses. But they're still trucking away here on the ranked ladder. That's what Low Elo Legends is about. And we have the Byzantines for blue, and we have the Britons for red. Now, when I started Low Elo Legends years ago, 1,000 elo and below was kind of my scale for what is a low elo legend. However, these players here are truly the low elo legends. Obviously, we've got our plenty of games in our playlist, and those games typically range from 850 or 900 these days all the way down to like 500 or 600. But to be down here, you have to play a lot of games, and you do have to start off your career, you could call it, with quite a few losses as well. That's just the reality. That's just how it goes. So let's see what strategies these players are going to go for. These are some classic civilizations, so could be players that have returned to the game or players just that appreciate the basics. And I have to say, blue is scouting with goats, but in the most relatable situation ever, blue now is not going to have food underneath the TC. Okay, so let's see what blue does to deal with this situation. Blue's like, oh no. We tried to do the thing. We tried to do the pro moves. And blue makes a lumber camp in a spot that I would not necessarily suggest if you want efficiency for your trees. But blue has done it anyways, which is what I call commitment. And blue realizes that food is needed and is now going to kill that poor little elephant right there. Meanwhile, over here, red seems to have the slightly better approach so far. Okay, red has also killed an elephant. Now, these guys don't have the skill or the patience to bring the elephants underneath the TC for efficiency, but my oh my, do they eat those elephants like it's their day job. Red scouting, also pretty good so far. And if there's one thing you always talk about in Age of Empires 2, if there was one thing that we need to touch on constantly when we're covering these games, it is this stat right here. The idle TC time. Every second you're not creating villagers, or more specifically, every 25, 30 seconds you're not creating villagers, you're down a villager. But that is the most difficult thing about the game before you get into all the fights and whatnot. The blue, I'm just going to have to come out here and say it, in case you didn't pick up on it, has placed a lumber camp that was not very good. Okay? It's good for the one tree, but these other trees, it's going to be quite a walk. Now, some of you might be like, well, T90, you have the small trees on. There's no way these guys have the small trees. And you'd be correct, actually. I see it looks a lot better when you have the big trees. In fact, we're going to keep the big trees on because we want the true experience. All right. Red is now making a lumber camp. See, this looks a lot better. So red was like patient. Didn't build the lumber camp right away, but it was just using the fancy straggler trees here. And red seems to have more of an order of things, I think. Going to bring in the next elephant now. He's got a nice little straight line of houses with the barracks there. Oh, wow. This could be dicey for this villager. Let's see. Friends are here to help. Okay. All right. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, even Blue Scout is coming to town as well. Oh, no. Red, you killed it with the scout. Oh, man. Oh. That's why you don't listen to that villager. He was asking for help. The scout was like, sure, I mean, I'll lend a hand. Ah. You can eat the elephant if you kill it with villagers. If you kill it with anything else, you can't. So that's 400 food down the drain. So this has been quite a start. Here's Blue Scout. Now, I believe this is Auto Scout, but I could be wrong. Is Red going to do anything about that? Not really. Blue realizes Red's TC is there and says, I don't want to give him that goat back. That could be a little bit of a loss here for Red. And they're both just hanging out, you know? Dark Age is a tough time. We have another elephant over here. Hopefully we'll see a mill here for Blue. I noticed Blue also made some houses. Blue also has lost track of that goat because the trees are big on his screen. This is definitely Auto Scout, by the way. And Auto Scout is just going to wander on by Red's base. And I doubt Blue is really even paying attention to this. But Blue's definitely paying attention to the goat. All right. Do you think he knows that he loses the food if not killed by Vills? He does now. If he didn't before, he does now. I think that is... Like, you got to think about the chances of that happening, right? You had so many villagers firing arrows. And then you had a scout. So I feel like Red could have done that 10 times prior to this, and the final hit would have always come in from a villager, so Red would have been fine. I think Red might have just learned that lesson right there. Sad times for Red. Red now does what I used to do all the time. I used to say, well, I want like 1 or 2 villagers on stone, and I want 1 or 2 villagers on gold, because when I make it to the point in the game where I want to, oh God, oh no, the scout is attacking. Excuse me, sorry, I was not expecting that level of intensity in this game so far. But no, I used to always just put 1 or 2 villagers on stone and gold, and then when I'd make it to the future ages, I would have some banked up, and then I'd have options. So not really, it was never really part of a build order for me. Also, this lady hates to work. She is getting paid by the hour, and she's just standing there, so I don't really know how that works for her. But yeah, she's just chilling out. This lady, maybe she's going to make some houses. I feel like Blue is a big house waller, and Blue's going to see that and house wall it. Okay, well, she was just going for a stroll. Oh, wait. Oh, we got walls there. All right, well, I was kind of right. Red has now made an army of militia to protect the economy. This is true Loetla Legends. This is like what the series was initially designed to find. These players probably don't have hotkeys or have majority of their hotkeys. Probably don't watch my videos. They probably don't have build orders, or if they do, they don't really care for it. And they're like, hey, we're supposed to have an elephant shipment arriving. Do you know where it is? He's like, no, I don't. He's like, did you kill it, Marv? You did it last week as well. And he was just nodding his head. Yes, he kind of ruined the whole thing. Yeah, Red Scout's not going to leave. Keep in mind, like, Red is very scared of the other areas of the map. Red just got attacked for a second by a scout and immediately reacted by making defensive militia. And we've got the scout now going this way. This could just be Red trying to scout off areas that can be walled up. Oh, wow. Did Blue just push that ostrich in close to the base? That's sick. Okay. Blue has 500 food, by the way. Well, has 800 food, but, you know, has over 500, which is my point, which is what you need to go feudal. And Blue has located the enemy and has decided to make an outpost here. This is a good outpost, right? Your opponent has a gate here. It can give you some vision over that area. And Red's just going to continue to wall. Now, everything was going so good for Red, but the lack of that 400 food from the elephant has damaged Red massively. It also lost that goat, and isn't really farming much. You know, must be saving up for the 500 food to go feudal age. And Blue is pushing in another ostrich. So Blue pushing the food in closer to the mill like a boss. And that's something like, if you would have never watched any Age of Empires 2 videos before, I feel like that's not something you would do, you know? So something tells me that Blue's got a little bit more experience in that regard. That said, I mean, Red's lumber camp was perfect earlier. If Red didn't lose the elephant, we might not be having some of these doubts about Red. Can we talk about how green the trees are, and yet how barren the land is? Why do we never talk about that? Shouldn't the trees be more like... Well, I guess the type of tree, right? It's a palm. Maybe it holds more water. I don't know. I'm not really that informed on trees, but it's always funny to me. All right. Blue with the barracks. Could go for a follow-up building, like maybe an archer range or a stable, something cool like that. Byzantines are a civilization that has lots of options, which is why you should want to play with Byzantines, because you can pretty much do anything. It's a good beginner civ. Also very good defensively. And oh yeah, guys, look, why would you ever want to make a mining camp and then make walls when you can make a mining camp that's part of your wall. Boom. We've seen it in the past with mills. We call it mill wall. And if they're fast castling, we call it mill wall FC. But that's not what we have here. I am a little interested about this, though, because blue has left a hole here. And the archery range could have sat right in that hole. So it is possible that blue wants to make a gate or some other buildings there. The red is still trying to get walls down because this is not an elo where you typically see a lot of rushing, right? It's very relaxed. And anyone who does rush early probably wins the game because red will just resign and go play again. Red's elo shows that. I, of course, didn't see any games from red in the past, but you have to assume such things. Blue made it to the next stage. Blue researched men-at-arms, is going to make some men-at-arms and make spearmen. However, completely forgot to make more villagers. Again, that's the big talking point. But the idle TC time is very close for these two. And blue seems to be, like I said, it was auto scout before. Blue is very active with his scout, trying to find out what his opponent's up to. And I might be wrong, by the way. I might be very wrong. I think red might be attacked by blue here. Like, look at blue run away now. Now, is blue, like, creating any villagers? No. Is blue only looking at this? Probably. I don't even know. We don't even know if red was paying attention. And red obviously pulls ahead with the villager lead because red is focusing on that. The map is Arabia, though, and red really hasn't tried to scout, hasn't auto-scouted, hasn't manually scouted where the enemy is. And all the buildings for red, I used to do this too! All the buildings for red are just going to be placed where red knows to look, right? Like, when I didn't have a go-to hotkey, I used to really like to place them somewhere that was very easy to find later. Because in the heat of the moment, you want to know where to look, right? By the way, these militia are gods. They just chased down that scout. That scout's dead now. And blue's just making a real circular base here. We got a market, we got a blacksmith. This army's protecting the opening. Blue probably could push out and have some success with some attacks, but we're not seeing that at all. And I prefer red's position right now, assuming red has the option to make some archers, and that's there. Britain archer ranges do work a little bit faster. Their archers also get additional range in the next stage, so it's a great civ to have. But guys, 0 farms for both players. I think they might transition into farms once they run out of other sources of food income. Once they realize, oh yeah, my food income's gone. And that could come sooner rather than later. Can we get a gate check real quick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gates so far for red. I mean, I think we could go all the way up to 10. Here comes blue. Blue's gone for fletching, which helps the archers, and then forging, which helps the man-at-arms. And oh god, red wants to add more walls before the other walls are even completed. Okay. Who needs a gate? Wait a second, is blue trying to hide the fact? I think blue is trying to hide the fact that there's archers here. That's really smart. So when the attack bell comes in for red, red's going to see 2 man-at-arms. And then the archers are going to show up somewhere else. That was intentional there from blue. This is, speaking of gates, this is kind of like a gate for the enemy. You know, it's just an easy opening for them. Still have seen nothing from red that shows me that red noticed that even happened. That villager wasn't well liked. She was like the least favorite daughter of all the daughters. So they just said, yeah, whatever. If she dies, she dies. But like these people, they are the king's prized children. These are, well, actually, would the king's children really be working on a lumber camp? I feel like they'd be idle inside of a castle. Anyways, still no reaction from red, and I'm really hoping that red does react because red, I want this game to continue. This is an awesome game. Okay, this is gonna come off as like really mean, but I need to check the APM. Okay, red is there. Red is doing some things. Okay, it's not much. But red is there, and oh man, red is now fighting back with the villagers. Blue is a micro god. Blue and has amazing army movement, and this can really frustrate some people. This guy's like, oh, I guess I'll just keep building houses. But will we see any army here from red? Well, actually, the militia come out from the trees. The militia come out from the trees. Let's go. And you gotta love it. Like, it's 20 villagers for both. And it's so hard for blue to be able to do anything else. And so hard for red to do anything else. So, we'll see how this is gonna work. Oh, by the way, villager killed there. So, blue even moving so fast that I can't deal with it. So, those man-at-arms are awesome. And I really like how blue has used his attack, right? Like, blue split up the units. Anyways, the militia are actually going to kill that archer, which is amazing. The militia will not be able to kill those man-at-arms, though. So, stressful times for red, who's fallen behind in this game, I think. Just because, like, red doesn't seem to be very reactive. Red's not really a fan of the feudal age fights. Oh, gosh. Red, stop trying to wall. Red, come on, buddy. You know, it does take some time to... Oh, God, of course that villager's weak. Oh, he didn't want to pick on the weak one. A man of honor. He fights with a code. More archers from blue. More walls from red. His villager's dying. Hey, red's making more villagers. That's good. Hey, red, do you want to use your buildings here, maybe? Sort of, kind of? Maybe make some army? You can recover from this position. Anything can happen at this elo. But if you just let these men-at-arms ransack your village, it's not going to be a good time. Okay. It is possible that red is playing without sound. I forgot to bring up that possibility. I tried it once. Don't suggest it. God, red is placing more walls while all the village is getting destroyed. Maybe this is going to make red actually make some army because that building's being attacked. It'll make red look there, and then red will say, oh, yeah, I can make stuff. No, you just made more walls, bro. Oh, okay, all right. Fletching, that's good. Fletching's good. Fletching and archers would be awesome here. Keep in mind, blue is now invested in some farming eco, and blue has more villagers, and way more villagers working. So, believe it or not, red's still ahead in resources gathered, but blue should probably catch up there. Okay, we have the militia. Man, these are the most important militia you've ever seen. And funnily enough, I think they're going to clear this because blue probably clicked the archery range. Oh, I love it. Oh, wait, blue with the reactions. Okay, blue will actually have one remaining then. Very good job from blue there. I would just expected blue to never realize. And oh boy. Okay, red's playing wall builders over here, which is actually an Age of Empires 2 scenario. Used to play that one in the past. Blue's gonna find more villagers. Hey, positive is red is actually making some skirms now. Downside is he doesn't know that skirms have minimum range. So that dude just kind of standing there like, what do you want me to do? It's a little unrealistic. Like, you'd think that they'd be able to just, like, poke that guy in the back of the head. But no, they can't do that. More villagers wall. More daughters that weren't cared about end up dying. This one's wisely hiding behind the walls. And blue is actually bringing vills. Blue wants to have a forward base here, which is really smart. I think red is just simply too stressed here. And we even have a stable in the middle now. But when he gets to imp, look out. Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a conversation we have at all elos. Some players are better at certain stages. I had a lot of people say to me that they're really good in Dark Age and Feudal Age and drop off in Castle, and I have other people say the opposite. So it is a situational thing. I think if blue makes scouts, this game is over. Blue's getting cav armor, but blue isn't making the scouts just yet. We'll see. Blue does know enough to use the market, which is really cool. I think blue wants to go for knights. And blue is now clicked up to Castle Age. A very good game from blue. Killed 11 villagers, 13 to 5 KD. Clearly a more aggressive player, which is probably why blue has 5 more elo than red does. From the Dark Age alone, red, I felt, was the better player, right? Like, red had better eco management. Red did, of course, accidentally kill that elephant, which was sad. But apart from that, it was looking clean for red. I think the problem for red is like, I'm not ready yet. And I'm guessing that red probably wants to drop a castle and make longbows or something in Castle Age. And so, you know, certain styles, like this play we're seeing here now, red's like, this is far too dangerous. Let's loop this back towards our base. But yeah, you know, certain styles, can slow you down a little bit, and that's exactly what we've seen here from blue. 20 minutes of TC idle time in this game. So their town centers have not been creating villagers more than they have been creating villagers. But I like blue's approach in this game. Blue could also drop a castle, and red is like scared to move out, I think, at the moment. Did lose another villager there, of course, a moment ago. Still hasn't scouted the enemy at all. And red is just determined to eventually get the walls down here. Excuse me. Gotta love the cute little farming eco. Like, at least red's farms look really good. They're actually not that efficient because of where they're being placed, but whatever. Who am I to talk? And so often, like, what can make or break a game is taking advantage of your timing and actually knowing what you need to do next. And so for blue, what you need to do next is make knights here, and this game is yours. Okay, instead, blue is making some stone walls. But what you could consider, blue, is also making some knights from the stable you've made on the front. That would be really cool, too. And there are the knights. Red could buy some food in theory and then click up to Castle Age. It's 23 villagers for both right now. The eco's dead even. In fact, resources collected, blue's barely ahead. I think... Oh, man, that castle, though. Also, the game's starting to lag, too, which is like the most low elo legend thing ever, right? Someone's playing on their old high school laptop. It is tricky with this game, right? Because I think a lot of people are coming back to the game, and there are a lot of people who've never really used PCs for gaming over the past 15 to 20 years. And so then they realize, oh, I got to use what I've got, right? And that can lead to this stutter fest at times. The skirmishers were the right option earlier from red. We did have the town bell rung. You could always search for the town center tips video that a certain T90 official made, which would help you out a little bit there. But I think these guys would maybe not benefit from that. As red is now sending another villager to go wall. Oh, no. Oh. Like, they have no say in the matter, these villagers, but I still, you know, I can't help but feel like they should probably turn around when they see the castles going up. Oh, red's villagers are fighting back. These skirmishers saw the castle. Red knows this isn't good. And we might see the GG in 3, 2, 1. Blue wins the game. It was a competitive, aggressive game, 38-minute game. 32 population is what the winning player had. Only 23 villagers. 23 villagers, but there were men-at-arms, there were archers, there were upgrades, there were castle drops, there were knights. Red realized it was time to tap out there. So I would have loved to see this game go on a little bit longer. I'll keep an eye on these two players. It's been the first time that we've done elo this low in a very long time. Obviously, we are very much at the point where basics are still very difficult for these two. But I kind of liked the way the direction was going. Like, I think if blue would have just sat back with the army for another couple minutes, red would have got those walls down. Like, there were, well, I was going to say there's no holes. Well, it's okay. Red had palisade walls here. Red was pretty close over here. So who knows, right? But I really do think that red just isn't a player who ever uses military in feudal. And the timing was right there from blue. Obviously, red maybe would have been in a better position had that unfortunate event not happened with the elephant earlier in that game. But yeah, there's the resources collected that game. Again, it's pretty close. It's just blue spent the resources and used it a bit more. And according to this, blue is a teensy bit faster. But, I mean, you have military APM making the difference. And you're obviously going to have more military actions per minute when you have more military. Like, come on. Someone says, I mean, I'm nervous going into ranked, but come on, this is embarrassing. What, your conduct? Judging people for playing the game how they want to play? Is that what you're talking about? Because I agree. I think it's pretty embarrassing to say it's embarrassing and to judge people for having a good time. These guys have 200 games. They don't give a crap. They play their style. Red doesn't place a single farm next to the TC, and he's loving life. I disagree heavily with you. I think that we've come a long way in Age of Empires 2. right? Where it's so easy to just assume that, okay, players should know this, players should know that, this, that, the other. This game's been out for a very long time. People like me, people like many watching might know things, but I think that there's absolutely no reason that you should actually shame someone for playing the game how they want to play the game. And this is actually a great quote from Chad to conclude it off. He says, these guys feel a high that we can't understand when they get their ranked wins. Exactly. Like, that's the beauty of low elo. Like, the how scary the darkness is when you're at this elo. Like, how unknown things are because you don't know what certain things are in the game. The elation you might feel when you win a fight. All of those things, I don't feel in the same way anymore because I know things, but it is fun for me to relive those moments, and that's what Low Elo Legends is about. So, sorry if I was a little aggressive there with my response, but I felt like it was necessary to bring up. Again, I want to find more games from these two. Hopefully, like, they get a game on Arena where Red starts with the walls, and then it might be a different matchup. Who knows? I love when T90 gets rattled. Well, I think it's important to talk about those things. I'm not, like, trying to be an absolute jerk to the person who said that. But, like, you can't just assume that everyone who plays an online game is playing to be a god, or is playing to be the best, or is playing to win in the same way all the time. That's just not how it goes. And I don't think we should encourage everyone to be like that. Now, there's nothing wrong on either side of it. There's nothing wrong with playing for fun and not caring. But there's also nothing wrong with playing to win, too. I think it goes both ways. So